Battle through the firmament. Great World. Chapter 461. The horror of the sneak attack. It's really me. After muttering softly, Wu Shaoqi rolled her eyes and walked briskly towards the sealed origin key space. Not far away, Zhou Exingyu looked at Wu Shaoqi's disappearing back and blinked. She then looked at Xiaoyan and whispered in Zhou Buyi's ear, "Big brother, it seems like no one has completed the bet between you and Xiaoyan." When Zhou Buyi heard this, the corner of his mouth lifted slightly. He naturally knew what Zhou Exingyu was talking about. His sharp eyes also looked at Xiaoyan and he softly said, "Wrong." Kang Feng directly eliminated Xiang Hao, but Xiaoyan defeated Kang Feng. I should have lost this bet. Without waiting for Zhou Exingyu to speak, Zhou Buyi suddenly smiled and said, "I also misjudged him. I did not expect him to be so strong. Although I am unhappy, he is stronger than me. This is the truth. I think Mu Yuyang has the same feeling as me. You two really appreciate each other." Zhou Exingyu wrinkled her nose and looked at Xiaoyan a few more times. Just when the latter sensed something, she hurriedly retracted her gaze. Yav Mu escaped. This is going to be fun. When Lin Dao went in again, Mu Yuyang suddenly smiled and whispered in Xiaoyan's ear. However, there was a hint of bitterness in his smile. Anyone who knew the strange strength of the soul demon would not be able to relax. Xiaoyan pursed his lips and shook his head helplessly. He had also heard about how Old Man Jiang and Ling Gu treated Xing Chanyu from Su Jiang. He didn't think about it. He was able to figure out the cause and effect of the incident. One of the 9 disciples, Yav Mu, had escaped from the forbidden area. Countless soul demons that were hiding in the dark corners of the great world woke up one after another. He would also have a backbone. Now, the true terror would gradually descend. Oh right, it seems like one of the 9 disciples, Tai Chi, is still sealed in that valley in star-severing mountain range. While Xiaoyan was sighing with emotion, he suddenly recalled the valley in star-severing mountain range. Where was he and Jade Fairy? After the battle with Yin Juxuan, they were scared away by the evil aura coming from the depths of the valley. According to Jade Fairy, there seemed to be a king of the soul demon clan sealed in the abyss in the valley. If Yav Mu goes out and rescues Tai Chi, my god, is this world really going to be thrown into chaos? Thinking of this, even with Xiaoyan's composure, he couldn't help but sweat on his forehead. Putting aside the strange strength of the soul demon, just their ability to control the heavenly beast was incomparably terrifying. Furthermore, with Yav Mu's ability, he could even control the holy beast. At the same time, he could also forcefully increase their strength by several times. This method was simply terrifying. Furthermore, the soul demon's most powerful trump card. It was the ability to resurrect a dead body, and by relying on the trace of yin qi of the dead. It could revive a dead expert, even though it only had half of its strength. However, it was still quite terrifying. It was a weak soul demon. If he had enough time, he would be able to gather an army of corpses. This was also the capital that the soul demon could rely on just 10 million people to fight against the billions of experts of the great world. The 9 disciples of the witchcraft tribe. Apart from Tai Chi and Yav Mu, there were 7 others who were sealed somewhere else. Xiaoyan muttered to himself in his heart. With their strange abilities, it was extremely difficult for them to kill the 9 disciples. The only way was to seal them. Even if they were to seal them, it would still take a lot of effort. With the power of the Domain Lord's magical body, they could only imagine how powerful the 9 disciples were if they had to die in order to seal Yav Mu. Next, Mu Yuyang. While Xiaoyan was lost in his thoughts, Old Man Jiang's voice came from the origin space once again. Mu Yuyang, who was standing beside him, walked in without any hesitation. Xiaoyan let out a light breath and put away the messy thoughts in his mind. Obviously, these things were not something he should consider at the moment. The strength of a monarch emperor did not even have the right to speak at the level of the experts in the great world. Suddenly, a loud sound was heard, attracting everyone's attention. Xing Chanyu's face was gloomy as he took out the star battleship that he had been riding. The battleship was golden and it was shining with a bright light. Compared to the old-looking battleship of Yunlo Academy, it was undoubtedly of a higher grade. The competition has ended. Star Sky Academy will take my leave now. With a gloomy expression, Xing Chanyu cupped his hands towards everyone. Without turning his head, he walked into the warship. Being beaten up by Old Man Jiang and Ling Gu in front of so many people, he had lost all of his face. Despite that, this anger, he didn't dare to vent it on Kang Feng. After all, Kang Feng was the young master of the Kang family. Furthermore, the matter was too complicated, and it wasn't appropriate for him to hold Kang Feng accountable. I won't see you out. Before everyone could speak, Old Man Jiang's tough voice was transmitted from within the origin key space. It was also incomparably cold. Under Xing Chanyu's request, Xiang Hao and the others helplessly entered the warship. Kang Feng was walking at the front. His eyes were unusually calm. However, under this calm gaze, there was an incomparably suppressed fury. Xiaoyan, I originally wanted to fight you, but because of the complicated situation, if I have the chance, I hope that you can fight me with your own strength next time. The moment before he stepped into the cabin door, Xiang Shaoshan suddenly turned his head and looked at Xiaoyan. With his intelligence, he could vaguely guess the ultimate skill that Xiaoyan and Kang Feng used during their fight. With the enhancement of the origin monic key, it was impossible for him to use it without restraint. I hope so too. Hearing this, Xiaoyan's eyes lit up. Then, he smiled lightly, ignoring the strange looks that the crowd was giving him. He replied with a clear voice. Xiang Shaoshan was the same as him. He was the highest trial participant in the same batch of academies. This time, he was able to defeat Kang Feng. If he didn't have this ultimate technique, he wouldn't have been able to defeat Kang Feng. It was impossible for him to persist any longer. Xiang Shaoshan smiled and looked at Xiaoyan. He then entered the warship. The cabin door slowly closed, and suddenly, it shot up into the sky, rushing towards the exit of Star Moon Island. In an instant, there was only a dim light spot left. Xiaoyan, come in. Not long after the warship left, Old Man Jiang's voice was heard again. This time, anyone could hear a trace of gentleness in his voice. Wu. His eyes were fixed on Xiaoyan, who had entered the origin key. On Zhou Yuan's originally calm face. At this moment, there was a trace of nervousness. He couldn't help but clench his fists under his sleeves. As the champion of the competition, Xiaoyan had 3 conditions. This also meant that Xiaoyan might even be able to obtain 3 Holy Arts Saint skills. In this way, even if he was stronger than Xiaoyan. Hong Long. Hey. After a moment of silence, the corner of Zhou Yuan's mouth curled into a smile. This was also good, at least it had completely ignited his fighting spirit. When he returned this time, he would let go of everything. He would focus on breaking through to the Emperor cultivation, and Monic Emperor. This was a clear dividing line. At that time, with the strength of an Emperor cultivation, he would be able to roam freely in the big world. At that time, his strength would increase. It would be even faster. Right now, he and Xiaoyan were competing who would reach the Emperor cultivation first. Zhou Yuan took a deep breath. The trace of jealousy in his heart disappeared without a trace. They were both at the same level, so there was no reason for him to be weaker than Xiaoyan. Zhu Mo, who was standing by the side, also seemed to have sensed the slight change in Zhou Yuan. He glanced at the latter in surprise. After that, he shifted his gaze to the spatial origin key in the center. Everyone was the same as him. They were all waiting for the 5 of them to come out. The 5 students of the Star Sky Academy. All of them had extraordinary statuses. No one would choose their sects. Therefore, the remaining students were their targets. Especially Xiaoyan. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.